If I told you that the best phone under 25,000 rupees has an Antutu score of over 1.5 million, has a 1.5K 120Hz AMOLED display, delivers a screen on time of over 11 hours, and has a camera tuning that is better than phones that cost way more than it, you'd really want to know which phone that is, right? Well, stick around till the end because this list has 5 phones that offer exceptional value for money in this 25,000 rupees price range. Alright, if you're watching me for the first time, I'm Arshat. This is Trakin English, your destination for detailed, incisive gadget reviews. The first phone that I'm going to recommend is, of course, the Nothing Phone 3A. Slightly lower now considering that discounts are going on at the moment. It's actually like a well-balanced phone and is good for those who are looking for a phone that looks completely different, because this one looks definitely different. And the best part is that the Phone 3A at least has a design that is not very offensive to a lot of folks like the Phone 3 is. So design-wise, this is my top recommendation. Also, it's got a glass back, so it uses premium materials too. But more importantly, it's got a triple camera setup on the rear with a 2x telephoto camera, and the camera tuning is actually pretty good. Probably one of the best in this price range, at least in the top 3 for sure. You also get a large flat display. It's an AMOLED display, of course, with 3000 nits of peak brightness. The battery is about 5000 mAh, which is not bad. And of course, you get a very clean software experience that builds upon the stock Android experience, and it doesn't have any bloatware apps. Plus, Nothing is also promising 3+6 years of updates. Now, these are of course the pros of the phone, but I must definitely mention that if you're looking for a phone in this price range with very good performance, then there are way better phones, and I'm going to be talking about them really soon. But more importantly, there's no charger in the box, so that's an additional expense that you will have to, account for. Now, while the Nothing Phone 3A doesn't offer great performance, this phone definitely does. Of course, what I'm holding in my hand is the Poco X7 Pro. It's got the MediaTek Dimensity 8400 Ultra, LPDDR5X RAM type, and UFS 4.0 storage. A great combination for good performance and especially suited to gamers. And talking about gaming, you get a flat display along with a 120Hz LTPS panel, 3200 nits of peak brightness, and Dolby Vision support too. Again, one of the things that matters to gamers is a large battery, and you get that inside this phone. It's a 6550 mAh battery with 90-watt charging speeds as well. By the way, the Poco X7 Pro also comes with IP69 rating, which is a huge advantage in this price range. In fact, the battery life was also pretty good when we tested it. But the problem with the Poco X7 Pro is that this phone has a lot of bloatware apps, and more importantly, the camera experience leaves a lot to be desired. It's not that great. Another performance-oriented phone that's in this list and that I definitely want to recommend is the Realme P3 Ultra. Now, I'm going to be talking about the Realme P3 Ultra for sure, but if you haven't already, then please go ahead, hit that subscribe button, show us your love. Now, the P3 Ultra, unlike the Poco X7 Pro, doesn't have the Dimensity 8400 Ultra. It has the Dimensity 8350, which is also a very powerful chip. And this one also comes with LPDDR5X RAM type and UFS 3.1 storage. So the performance is definitely good. In fact, the performance tuning is also very good. And just like the Poco X7 Pro, the Realme P3 Ultra also has IP69 rating, which is a huge advantage. And again, this is like a large 6.83-inch 1.5K resolution AMOLED panel with 120Hz refresh rate and Corning Gorilla Glass 7 eye protection too. So the display quality is fantastic as well. Plus, what I like about this phone is that it is extremely slim, and yet it packs a 6000 mAh battery inside with 80-watt charging speeds as well. And of course, the software experience on the Realme P3 Ultra is definitely better than that of the Poco X7 Pro. However, the camera tuning, it wasn't the best. If you ask me, I actually expected it to be better, but also more importantly, there's no NFC in this phone. So if you care about tap payments, then that's going to be a disappointment for you. Alright, the penultimate phone in the list that I have for you is a OnePlus phone, and it is the newly launched OnePlus Nord CE5. Now, if you look at it, the Nord CE5 and actually the Realme P3 Ultra are basically the same phones for the most part. But the CE5 does a few things differently. Because even the Nord CE5 actually comes with the MediaTek Dimensity 8350, and it has LPDDR5X RAM type and UFS 3.1 storage. In fact, the camera setup is also exactly the same, and the camera performance is also, almost similar. But instead of a quad curved display, you actually get a flat display, same with 1.5K resolution and 120Hz refresh rate. And the OnePlus Nord CE5 packs in an even larger 7100 mAh battery, and it's a battery champ. Plus, of course, unlike the Nord CE4 where the OxygenOS experience, especially with animations, was nerfed, with the Nord CE5, it is smooth, it's fantastic. It's easily my favorite operating system experience in this price range for sure. But just like the Realme P3 Ultra, you do not get NFC with this one either. But the bigger problem is that it doesn't come with stereo speakers, you only get a mono speaker. So the phone that I was talking about at the start was, of course, the iQOO Neo 10R. which is generally not available for 25,000 rupees. By the way, it's available for about 25,500 now, which I think is like fine. We can include it in this list, especially considering how awesome it is. Because what you get is a Snapdragon 8s Gen 3 and you get LPDDR5X RAM type, UFS 4.0 storage. It's the best performing phone in this price class. That's not it. You get a 6400 mAh battery, you get 80 watt charging speeds, there's a large 6.78 inch 1.5K resolution 120Hz AMOLED display with 4500 nits of peak brightness. This display is gorgeous too. But most importantly, you know what the iQOO Neo 10R gets right is the camera tuning. Now the camera hardware setup itself is not as impressive as the Nothing Phone 3a because the Phone 3a actually has that 50 megapixel 2x telephoto, but the camera tuning is fantastic on the iQOO Neo 10R. Of course, you also do get the 32 megapixel selfie camera, which is fantastic too. By the way, there are a few things to note about the iQOO Neo 10R if these are deal breakers for you. Not for me so much, is the fact that you do not get IP69 rating, you get IP65 only, which is not too bad either because even the Note CE5 does IP65 and the Nothing Phone 3a I think does IP64. I'm not so sure about that, but it's somewhere between IP64 and 65. And the software experience is something that I'm not a big fan of, FunTouch OS. It's not bad, it's at least very stable and bug-free, so that's good. And there's of course no NFC on the iQOO Neo 10R either. But yeah, overall, this is our best phone under 25,000 rupees right now. So what do you guys think of this list of phones under 25,000 rupees? Now, I'm sure that there are some of your favorites that have probably not made the list. If you like any other phone apart from the 5 that I've recommended, do let us know why in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep tracking and stay safe.